Okay, Monday morning and brand new week under the cloud of lockdown. So happy, giving up clothes, sitting here under a small staircase and trying to ponder about life. Before we bring in our two other philosophers, I want to quickly say so they've come up with a new thing now in Mumbai, especially Mumbai. I think it's only Mumbai. You'll have to get stickers, colored stickers on your car if you step out. I think red will cover most of the medical facilities, animal welfare, that kind of thing, and yellow will be for essential services, which I've never understood what is and what isn't because it's all relative. Having said that, I've understood why we've got these colored, and then the police have said that you have to provide yourself with this colored cutouts. You do it yourself at home. They don't have time. They're very busy with all the things that they're doing. So please find your own little colored thing, cut it out, and front and back of the car, put red, yellow, green, blue, whatever colors you like, and explain why. It's pretty simple. So I was thinking there must be a rationale to it because simply by doing this, will the pandemic go away? Will it really make a huge dent in numbers? Will it help the society becoming more robust and immunity going up and vaccination drive going to a successful level? I'm not sure if they can correlate these two issues. So there must be another reason because intelligent people do this, not idiots. So here's my thinking. My thinking is that everybody's feeling bad that Holi was a washout. Here, in your own way, you can do a little bit of coloring by coloring your car with different colors and then having a chat with the policeman or whoever stops you and discussing the colors. So I feel it's a little slice of Holi coming back so that you don't feel so bad about the fact that our festivals just keep getting nixed because of the pandemic. So, folks, find yourself lots of colored paper, cut out different colors, keep them ready. If you're not sure what you are, you can always argue with the cop. देखिए मैं तो मेडिकल स्टूडेंट हूँ मगर अभी साल का कैंसिल हो गया एग्जाम तो आई कांट गेट माय मेडिकल डिग्री तो ऑब्वियसली एक साल के बाद मैं आपको दिखाएगा तब तक रेड जिंदाबाद. All right, let's welcome our friends, Silverie, Amit. I love all this little stuff that goes on. I'm thinking there are people sitting in a big room, 10, 15 educated ministers or bureaucrats, and they have a conversation and they say, yes, ek hi ilaj hai, colored paper. Once we put colored paper in cars, and less people will drive their cars, and that's it, pandemic is solved.
But
So,
isn't it? But isn't the paper actually? So aren't you supposed to get the paper from the police station?
you're supposed to get a pass of sorts, but they said, can you make your own colored paper? So it's a little confusing. As in, then you have to go and apply for the
That basically
pass. The
that
relevant pass is not the paper. The relevant pass is Amit Doshi is a provider of care to an elderly person. So he gets a yellow pass. That you have to
what
get.
that is insane because what I read was that basically the police station will give you a sticker for you to put into your window. That makes a certain amount of sense, right? Because then the cops can tell, okay, this is an emergency vehicle, this vehicle, this is this vehicle. Okay, some logic, not too much, but some logic. A single sticker would work just as well. But the if
Here's the
they're
thing,
telling you to make your own
pals,
sticker,
pals of mine who've applied for the pass, we'll come back to the sticker. Well, there are no passes left. So they've all been told to apply after Friday. So that's the first disaster. They've run out of passes. Okay, that's the first. Second is, I'm telling you, you're supposed to carry your own colored paper and then match it to the relevant pass so that when they stop you, you have to have this conversation. Hello, sir, कैसे हो? मैं बीमार नहीं हूँ. ये कोविड सर्टिफिकेट कलर देखो. अभी ये देखो essential service कलर देखो. अभी मेरा gender का कलर ये देखो. Not male, not female. ये देखो. So everything has to be lined up. For me, it's taking it to another level of comedy because it's just for me it's just absolutely stupid
it
and a
is
waste of time.
ridiculous, right? It makes absolutely no sense.
What if
It's
the
just
what if the car gets confused for as like carrying meat? Oh, veg meat inside so green, non-veg meat inside so red. So you don't want that, man.
You can apply
You
your
want to
logic. See,
confuse.
only when they stop you and have a conversation is this going to come into play. So otherwise, it's if they buy the car and the person in it, they're just passing. And I can't believe that. Honestly, there are not that many cars on the road. So I don't think that's really the
yeah.
big issue yet.
No, it should be a single
We're
pass. They
running out
should
of
have a
beds. We're running out of oxygen.
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
the vaccine drive has to be upped because half the time the vaccine isn't available, and people have to still be pushed through it. And immunity issues of how to boost people, make them feel more confident, positive, etc. I was thinking we'd focus more on that, but obviously maybe I'm wrong, and
Think
we'll go for stickers.
you
Stickers
know
are
what
important too.
the thing they need to do is they need to do a better job of scheduling vaccine stuff, man. I was so my mom got her second dose yesterday, so
Oh,
she's
good.
now second dose done. But I'd taken her to Elizabeth yesterday, and I was talking to somebody over there, not like one of the doctors or something like that, but the guy was telling me that they're doing 100 doses a day at Elizabeth supposedly. They have this to do 100, but he's saying we're not doing more than like 60, 70 a day.
They've
And I'm
got
just like,
30
how is
30
yeah, how is that
surplus every
happening?
day.
How is
I
that
thought it's the other way
happening?
around. You're running out of it.
No, so I mean, like you're running out of it in some ways.
Area,
There is a
area.
shortage, but it depends on space to space, right? I mean, like a shortage
Yeah,
doesn't mean that everyone is running out completely. But the thing is that there is no good information. People don't know where it is available and where it's not available at any given point in time, right? Like, the process of getting the vaccine itself is great. The process of signing up for where to get the vaccine sucks,
yeah,
right? Because I mean, like, you go to the Coven website or you go to the Arogya Setu thing, you put in your pin code. If and the only thing it searches for your pin code and your pin code alone. It doesn't search for around surrounding pin codes. It doesn't tell you what availability there is until you go and select the hospital, and then you can see how much availability there is for each particular day. And that's not, I mean, like that
so
that
why
that
didn't we
doesn't make
just
sense.
follow a simple localization process where whoever, whatever you're closest to, that's your spot? So for your example, you're like 1 minute away from St. Elizabeth.
Mm.
You just go there, and hence all the people in your geography all go there. In which case, it would have been more organized. Maybe even go building by building or lane by lane or something.
But then they have you have this age-based thing right now happening, so then you
Yeah.
can't really do it that effectively in that
So
sense,
maybe we
right?
got that wrong about the age-based thing. They could have had emergency outlet as well, and then they could have just following the geography. And that by doing the geography, you claim the whole of Valkesh were done in 2 days. The
So
whole
I
of
think when they
Powai
get
done
to
in the next 2 days. Like that.
I I think when they go under 45, when they open it universally, I think that's what they will not, because I mean that's how polio vaccine drives and stuff like that happen, right? They happen geographically. They don't
But
really happen on
what will happen
the
to all
particular.
my colleagues like Malaika, Maria, Sophie, all of them, because they don't like to say the exact age. So I'm seeing there'll be a lot of women who will not be happy with this 45 over or under. I think we should not for women bring up the age. You'll get a slap. Because doctor will say age bolo slap straight away. I think we should just let people come in now and say the emergency quota is over hopefully, so everybody come in. I haven't seen any mass
So
movement anyway. Do you guys see? I don't know. Have you ever seen? You've been 3-4 times, Amit, with various people. Have you ever seen really serpentine queues and all? It's not really happening.
not at all.
Not really.
No, no.
No.
It's been very peaceful, very chilled out. I mean, like it's not really been that much of an issue at all. The process of getting the vaccine itself has been as good a process as I can imagine, right? Yesterday, we went to the hospital. My mom, there were two gates, one for people who had reservations, one for people who are just walk-ins.
Right.
You went in with the reservation. They took her in within 5 minutes. She got the shot. She had to sit down for 30 minutes, and then we were home like within the hour.
So we went ahead of our reservation because we were suddenly free on a Tuesday 2 weeks
Oh,
back. And we just went, and the whole thing took us about 1.5 hours going in the longer
yeah,
line and everything. But we just went because why waste the day? We thought instead of waiting till
yeah.
Friday, which we had planned, well, this lockdown looming large, we just went for it. And it was not the worst experience. I mean, I would like a non-veg canteen. It's Saint Elizabeth, for God's sake, named after the famous queen who may or may not still be alive in England. I'm not following
It's
the royal family. They fall like flies these days. I can't believe my daughter woke up that day and came up
it's
to me
not
and said
named,
he missed his
dude.
100th.
It's not named for the queen. It's Saint Elizabeth.
Oh, the saint. But
It's
then she
not
was named.
Queen Elizabeth.
But then maybe the first Elizabeth, the great, the famous one, maybe she
Oh,
was named after the saint. I don't
she
know.
wasn't sainted.
No, no, but maybe there was some saint before her called Elizabeth, hence she got the name. I'm
Okay.
saying. So there
I'm
is a
sure
connection.
that's.
As long as there's a connection, I'm
I'm
good.
sure every Christian name is in some way related to a saint, right?
Okay, be very careful. Let's not start a minority assault
No,
of our own.
no, no. It's not a minor. It's just how people name people, right? I mean, like you name people based on historical
Lot in
and
Christian
current
in
this.
Christian cultures, a lot of people do name their kids after saints,
Yeah,
especially like Irish Catholic and Roman Catholic
Michael,
cultures.
Paul.
Yeah,
I mean, like these are very common names because these are names of
Cyrus.
saints.
Oh,
Cyrus
I've
is
been declared a saint. I
okay.
just spoke to the Shiv Sena. They said you're a saint here,
Saint
complete saint.
Cyrus of Malabar Hill,
That's right. I bless you. I bless you with one vaccine in each shoulder.
which
Yeah.
is your verified miracle.
I wanted to
Yeah.
ask Amit, did you get any side effects from the vaccine? I know was the arm was paining a bit, so he couldn't exercise the next day.
I was
No, no,
really
I
sleepy.
exercised.
Oh, you did
Uh,
exercise with
Of
that?
course. She told me
Okay.
clearly because she felt my arm and shoulder and said, "आप workout करता है?" I said, "हाँ." तो एक दिन 2 दिन के लिए नहीं करो. So I said, "Okay." And 8 hours later, I was working out.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
What about you,
that's
Amit?
how much we care.
I was a little tired the first day. I mean, like I got it, and I just like I think I normally I slept like a couple hours earlier than I
But I
normally
got a
would.
cough and cold, which stayed for 3-4 days, and now it's still there slightly. So there
Oh,
was a
really?
yeah, but no fever,
Okay.
no pain, no headache, no energy drop, nothing. My irritability
My
I
went up.
my
that
mother got
same.
her yeah, my mother got her vaccine like 2 days, second vaccine 2 days back,
Oh,
and the day after that, her entire body was just paining a lot, like full body ache.
But the shorter
yeah.
gap between the vaccines. They've
Yeah, like short gap, like about a
That's why
month.
they said to make it 2 months. Two
Yeah.
months
Yeah,
or 4 weeks. Four
for 6
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks. They say is a little safer. Otherwise, you have a lot in your body, and then you get COVID-like reactions for a short while.
Yeah.
That makes sense, but I don't know. But my wife, nothing happened. COVID just died. Went in injection, boom, nothing, no pain in her shoulder, nothing,
Oh.
no swelling. Yeah,
But I mean, I think that it really is varying from people to people, right? I mean, like we're talking one of our friends groups. Some
yeah.
people were really tired the next day and just like crashed. Some people were absolutely fine. Some people got cold and fever and all of that. Some people, I know somebody who was like fevered for like 4 days afterwards.
Oh,
So
it's
I
like
mean, like
regular COVID.
yeah, I mean, like it's a
Actually, one day
fever.
worse than regular
Yeah,
COVID. Okay, that poor
yeah,
guy. Is he okay
yeah,
now?
yeah. He's fine now.
Yeah.
Fine now. But yeah, I mean, like all kinds of reactions showing up to this thing.
I'm feeling very bad that in England they wasted a vaccine because Prince Philip had only got one and then he died. So the second one is pending. That's gone to waste. So I don't know about you guys, but my family, barring me, I'm the egalitarian in the setup. I don't like the royal family, as in not like as in I don't have time for all that. I just think it's stupid after a point. But my wife, my good friend Kunal, and my daughter, huge royalists. So watched the funeral. And I was like, an IPL match is going on. It's a double header. What kind of human being does this? What are you watching? Some strange European people in medieval clothes walking around somberly with somber piano music in the background, and of course because they all love old blighty, just shots of England in the cold. April
So
colder April than it's been for many years.
there was a massive controversy around the way the BBC covered his death, right? Because generally, so like they abandoned all programming
Yeah.
for the death coverage, right? And apparently there were a couple of matches, like there was some football match going on. There was like a bunch of different stuff going on, and people were pissed. So yeah, I mean, like I think that most of England's also coming around to the non-royalist
No,
idea
no,
of
it's
things.
divided. I mean, it's divided. You get the
It is.
royalist, he's hardcore. You get the non-royalist, he's hardcore in his cynicism and
Mhm.
looking down. It's divided properly. But there are
Yeah,
plenty of them who are very, for Queen and country and all that. The only thing is, at the end of the day, it's like racism. It's actually perpetrating
it
some
is
sort of,
racism.
they're
It's
better
not.
than
It's
you. They
not
do
like.
nothing.
It's not like. It is. If you look at
Yeah.
the people who are pro and the people who are anti, you will find that most people who are super pro royal are generally going to be white.
And the Indians who like it are wannabe whites, to be honest,
Yeah, they're close to
wannabe
be
Brits.
white. They're close
So
to white.
yeah, I'm saying this all wrong because I'm a big British culture lover myself. What I mean is they like the idea of an apex and a caste system and people being on top and people being below. They enjoy all that. Their whole sense of what I think sense of fair play, some sort of egalitarianism, some sort of equality is not really there deep down. They love the idea that you have this person who does nothing, who's your leader, does nothing. What the hell did he do? He played cricket in school, rugby in college, and polo later on. And then after that, he probably got someone who would ride the horse for him. So you actually just had to clap and he'd get the points. Be like that. And then you give away the Wimbledon title. I mean, no, with due respect, not like he's evil, but and of course, he made some racist comments around the years that we won't get into since he's just
Yeah,
passed away. Yeah. But I don't know. I just think it's an overrated concept, honestly. Just and
it
it's like
is.
religion. It doesn't match the 21st century for me. It's like, okay, great, you want to talk about history, fine, but kingship, divinity of leadership, it's bullshit. It's worse than
It is.
nepotism. I mean,
It
what
is
the hell is that?
nepotism. It's the
It's the father
genesis
of
of
nepotism. Yeah,
nepotism.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean, like
As I
it
said it, I
is.
realized that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's the worst. I mean, like, yeah, the fact that people still have kind of I don't understand in the 21st century how anybody could think well of any kind of royalty, right?
But they sat up.
Any
They sat up like it was a freaking Wimbledon final match or something, or a huge election result or whatever the hell gets your fancy. They sat up to watch a guy they nobody knows anything about this guy, and
that's
basically
the
all
other
of
thing.
Germanic descent. Ironically, Germanic descent. He's Greek or something, and the rest are all German, and they're running the British Empire, and they fought against these countries for the last 100 years. So it's oof.
So I
I,
heard somebody make a joke,
People were
right?
crying. Amit, why were people crying?
And
They
because
don't
they
even know
found
this
out
guy. What is his
they
surname? You know
so
nothing.
so what I heard was I heard this joke, right? That basically people found out more about Philip from the TV show The Crown than they ever knew about him before.
Of
Nobody knows
course.
anything about him.
My daughter, 150,000%. But in the crown is the reason. It's like the reason why it was thrown out there, and then they bit into that, and now they're
Yeah.
interested. But now she knows all the facts, and they're useless facts. That's why I know he's of Greek origin and that he played cricket and rugby and all that. I don't know that. I don't know because she tells me. I just about knew his name was Bill or something like that, and that he was very old, like 1,000 years old, and he gave away the Wimbledon title. That's the only thing I remember of him growing up, because he was always there with no expression, half smile. I always gave it to the runner up, and they would point him in the wrong direction and say, no, 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 you need to go there. That's the winner. That's the runner up. You had to make a choice between two, and you got it wrong. Yeah, but how you can't cry? You can't cry. It's not like Elvis has died and you spend your whole life, listening to his music. There's no connect here. What the hell are you talking about? The well-wishers who stand around and they're crying, they've got nothing to do with the monarchy, just fans. Why? How does his
It
death
makes no
affect you?
sense
I
to.
can't get that connection.
I've never understood it. I really haven't. I've never understood the affection that people have for any of these royal families. I don't understand our affection for our Kuwars and Nawabs and all of that either, right?
Yeah, I mean, it had its time or whatever, but now it's just out of place.
No, not just it. It had its time, yes, but I mean, like, listen, it's a inherently cruel method of government, right? I mean, like the number of kings, even the benevolent kings, right? It's still a do what
It's a
I say
paradox. So how
and
can you
I'll
really
be
be benevolent?
nice.
How can you be a benevolent king? It's just a
That's what I'm
paradox.
saying.
Is it possible? I
It's
mean, at the
not
end of the day, you order executions of people, but you patted the dog nicely. I mean, what does it mean?
exactly,
Really?
exactly. Yeah, I'll cut some taxes, but I'll kill those people over there on that side.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
I'll have 47 wives and you can't question me. I'll just change. The church is cancelled. I'm now at the head of the church. It's like that.
Yeah.
You just what is all that about?
Uh,
Really?
did Did you guys ever watch the video of when Kim Jong Un's father died in North Korea?
Yeah.
All the people
Crying.
assembled
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
were made to cry like forcibly, or they would have been in trouble and all.
See,
It was
behind the
like
camera, when
super
you have
overacting,
100,
and it's hilarious.
behind the camera, you have 1,000 guns pointed at the
Yeah,
public.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, they are crying
Yeah,
genuinely because they know if they
but
don't, they'll
like
die on the spot.
overacting, dude. It's so good. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, it's so
Yeah,
great.
that's I know in India, what's it called? We have these guys at funerals, right? The professional
Yeah, yeah,
criers.
yeah. The
Couple of Hindi
professional
films done on
mourners.
them. What is the word? I forget. It'll come back to us, or somebody can put a link
The
in
professional
quickly.
mourner. I can't remember who it is, but it's like
There's a Hindi
they
word
do
which is
the
famous
yeah.
here. Yeah, exactly. So they just put it on. Like they
Yeah.
come to the area, they've never seen the dead body or the family or whatever, and they
Yeah.
just perform for 15 minutes. They'll
Hmm.
cry their hearts out, then say, "Acha bolo, GST bhi hai usme, acha thank you," and they'll walk off. That's it. So my daughter informed me of something really funny about this whole thing, and she was telling me that basically this guy and the queen live separately all their lives. Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I
what I also
mean,
read.
so
Yeah,
what are they standing for?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like a dysfunctional family
They're
to begin with.
standing.
It
They're
starts from
standing
there,
for. We're royals. That's what they're standing for.
but they're not
We
even
are
together.
royals. Yeah.
He had his own palace. She has her own palace. I mean, okay, fair enough. Lots of couples would take that option, but they're not even like a couple. They probably met once a year for some state funeral like this when somebody popped it, and that's it.
Yeah. It's an arranged marriage. Now, at the end of it, it is an arranged
Why
marriage
are we? I mean, people blame the Parsi community, but why are we Indians so crazy about it? Please explain that complexity is there in the social hierarchy of our minds. I would
because
love to.
listen, Indians love basically idol worship, right?
Yeah,
Whatever it is, we love any kind of idol that we can kind
godlike.
of
Yeah.
turn it into an iconic, any kind of thing that we can turn into an icon. We like to worship that, right? And I mean, like you see it across this, right? We turn movie stars into gods. I mean, like there are temples to Rajnikant, Amitabh Bachchan, Kamal Hassan, Jayalalitha. There are
It's
temples to
also
all of these people.
non-stop. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like we just
Hey, Amit, can I get a temple?
sure, why not?
It'll help our ratings.
Yeah,
Why don't we
let's
get a
do
big
it.
temple?
We can
Lot of,
let's go do
lot,
it. Let's go find out what's the cheapest place of what's the cheapest plot of 10 by 10 land we can get in this country.
probably where I am, but I must have already
I
got it.
don't think that's true for Alibag.
But I'm dressed like a deity, aren't I?
Yeah, you
Uh,
are.
yeah, yeah, typical Indian scripture thing where I'm
Yeah.
just wearing the loincloth or whatever and walking around.
Your hair needs to get longer. This Your
Hair
hair needs to
longer.
get longer. Hair should be longer. Yeah.
We'll fix that in Photoshop, yeah.
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 No, but
Okay.
we want it like that, blazing. Why is it that
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
prophets have to have that blazing hair? Okay, I'm not going to point fingers at which prophet from which civilization, but almost always they have the blazing hair.
Well, I
You're
think,
right, Silvery. Very good point. They never have a terrible haircut. They never look
but
like this. Frankly, I just
but
realized.
so no, I think we know who you're talking about here, right? But I mean, like that's the European representation of what that person looks like. That's
That's
But
not
true.
what that
even
person looked like, right? I mean, like it's been deeply established that did we lose Cyrus?
oh yeah, I think Cyrus is
Yeah,
done.
I think we lost Cyrus. Okay.
But yeah, you were saying?
I was just saying that basically it's been established that the versions of Jesus Christ that we see in paintings and such are basically a Eurocentric version of what he looks like. That's not what he looked like. He was actually a Jewish guy from Israel at that point in
Mm.
time. He probably looked more black than he looked white.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember reading this. But even
Yeah.
some of our Indian, somewhat so-called prophets,
Mhm.
would be considered with like having long hair. Like Ram is always shown with having long hair. Krishna
Yeah.
is always shown with having long hair.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
long hair is
Yeah.
a thing.
No, long hair is a thing, but I think that's more of a. Again, if you are, if you look more African in nature, right, from a racial perspective, then your hair is going to be curly. It's going to be crinkly.
That's true.
Chances of
Yeah,
it being long and flowing like that
yeah, that's
are
true.
fairly low. It's not impossible. That does exist, but it's unlikely, right? And again, the point is that this is the versions of what we're seeing right now, right? Are basically paintings that were created in the 8th, ninth, 10th century onwards. That's the kind of version that we're seeing right now of this, right?
Yeah,
Even in the case of Ram and Krishna and stuff like that, right? Most of the artwork that you see, right? That's stuff
yeah,
that came much later.
that's true. Yeah.
The sculptures
Maaf
and stuff
kijiye.
like that were earlier. You're back.
Hey, Cyrus.
Yeah, so you're coming back. Sorry, but I've now done the relevant hot spotting
That's all
technologies. I
right,
think I'll just
man.
have to
While
leave
you
it.
were not there, I did the the religion insulting on your
Yeah.
behalf.
No, 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 no. There's no religion insulting. Please, for God's sake, you might as well take a noose and hang yourself. Don't say that. We are making observations by humans on religion.
Yes,
Always
we
the,
are.
the, the
Yeah,
religious figure
absolutely.
is above board. We're not
No, no,
getting into that.
we're talking about,
We're
yeah,
getting
you're
into
right.
human translation. No, no, look at this way. If you're in a court of a medieval king or whatever, and you're doing a portrait, which guy is going to give an accurate? Louis the 16th, for example, was famously not so attractive, but no one's
Mhm.
going to take a chance. No, they're always going to make the guy look like, name the king. Which
Yeah,
king looks bad? Nobody's drawn an ugly king and left it there for posterity. You'll never. His family would have been wiped out. I
that
wish
is
there was
true.
one guy who said, Baba Timur, don't mind, Amir Timur, come here, come here. You're no jaw, looking very bad. Yeah. He would have done that. The same thing goes for religious figures. Unless you're against the figure, why would you have anything which is unattractive? You can't have an unattractive preacher. Won't work. I don't think.
True.
Except if you go to the Kumbh Mela, sometimes a couple of the guys, maybe have overdone the imbibing. Which reminds me, isn't that a fabulous story?
The Kumbh
Oh,
Mela?
it's the best. Oh
Because
man.
we
So,
go on about red paper and yellow paper, and what are we talking
Yeah,
about?
correct.
no,
And
so what
28 lakhs
was?
bathed together, and then 32 lakhs are hanging out together,
Yeah.
and no tests are
Uh,
being conducted, just quietly here and there. Yeah, sorry.
then Narendra Modi asked for them to make it symbolic, and so then apparently some people
When?
left.
When?
Oh no,
After
no,
10 days.
On Sunday, yeah, on
On a
Sunday,
Wednesday, on Friday, or whatever, Sunday. Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
So, and that too, I think it was international pressure finally,
it
because that's
was.
his thing. You want to reach him, you got to criticize him internationally, and he's like, "Oh no, there's my Nobel. I got to do something," and boom. But the fact is, at least two high-profile monks or mutts, as they call it, whatever, have died. Okay, of COVID already. One in MP and one in another
Right.
state, after going back home, died of COVID. So
Oh,
the numbers, if they actually tell us honestly, are going to be much more than whatever
they
2,000
are.
Oh,
they've come up with
absolutely.
right now.
Absolutely.
Much more.
Without
It's
doubt.
it's a 100% super spreader event. Delhi government has said that anybody coming back from Kumbh Mela has to self isolate for 14 days. Right. I don't know how they're going to enforce that, but they're saying that.
Yeah.
It is going to it's unbelievable, right? I mean, like, on one end we are being shut down
That's
and being
You're
told.
talking about a guy. Let's say a guy from UP going to MP, doing what you say, 14-day quarantine. Let's look at that. That's one thing. Before he goes there, he's interacted with lots of other people, right? Some
Mhm.
of them stay in the same area and don't go from there. So
Right.
it'll spread in many different ways. It doesn't just spread from one state to the next. It spreads in the
Absolutely.
state first, and then from there it can spread all over the place to many people. Because once it starts spreading, the only way to spread is not by going to one place. It's the guy who leaves the place and then comes to the next place and takes 14 days off. So I don't know. I think the politicians really not one has spoken out about it. I mean, we're repeating ourselves, but nobody's taking this seriously. But you want me to
Yeah.
put a yellow stick on my car to drive for 1 kilometer? I mean, really, where's the thinking? Where's the real issue? This is going to be a global issue now, because from here it'll go all over the world again, not just India.
Yep.
And
28 lakhs
this,
had a bath in the middle of this.
yeah,
Name me one
correct.
country, as third world as you want, as sixth world as you want, who would allow this. Name me, please, guys. Give me a country's
Nobody.
name that would say, okay, guys, 28 lakhs, please have a bath together because it's COVID, but God will protect us from everything.
No,
And plus, we want to save
it's
water, so collective bath.
no. So I mean, like it's actually one of the ways that these viruses travel quite effectively, right? They've shut swimming pools for like since day one, right? Because apparently the virus travels really effectively when it's like when through water or what have you, right? And so I mean, like you're putting people. I
Right.
don't get it. I can't understand.
But Amit, look
It
at the
makes
numbers. The Shahi Snan, what the royal bath, which is a huge deal in the Kumbh Mela, 28 lakhs attended that bath.
Th-
As in, they were
yeah,
in the bath. You saw pictures.
31
You guys have seen
lakhs next
pictures.
day.
yeah.
31 lakhs the next day. So
The
these
day
are,
three, yeah.
what is the, on one end, every media outlet is saying things like, please stay safe, wash hands, wear mask. What's the point? What's the point of Amit Doshi and Silverie cleaning their hands while 31 lakh people are bathing together?
That's
We're
absolutely
dead.
true.
It's game, set, and match. It's
Yep.
pointless.
Yeah.
Might as well enjoy
Well,
your life. Let's watch porn.
the thing is, what I don't
I'm
understand
telling
is
you.
no, but what I really don't understand is why is why is the timing of this so weird as well, right? I mean, like, geez, all you needed to do was just wait for a couple of months before you could do all of this stuff, right?
And what
Just
is the
wait for a
power
few
here?
months.
What is the voting power here? Is it so much? What is the issue? Because you cancel Diwali, our biggest festival bar none. You cancel Holi, which is in the north of India, is a huge festival.
Mhm.
Okay, you've cancelled Christmas and all these other festivals as well. So everybody has been cancelled. Religious Eid, everything is pushed to the side. That's been done. So what was the worry with the Kumbh?
I think
You've
mass festival.
already
The festivals for people. So most of the festivals, Diwali and Holi, are festivals celebrated by the general public. These are Kumbh Mela is a festival celebrated by the hardcore.
professionals,
Yeah,
professional, whatever, sadhus,
the
what you want to call them.
yeah, the hardcore,
Yeah.
people who are really
Pe-
really deeply into this stuff,
Rich
right?
people with less clothes is one way to
Oh,
describe them. Yeah.
okay.
Because they never
but
dress up, that's for
but
sure.
I think what that does is it's if you want to take a parallel, right? I mean, like how the in America the Republicans will generally cater to their base and the Democrats will generally cater to their base, right? In this case, what you have is the BJP catering to their hardcore base, right? And it's horrendous and
Got
awful,
that.
but
Got that. But I thought for this one time that because of the pandemic, they went above religion. They canceled religious worship centers, all that. We saw a lot of guts in India initially when they did it. For the first, whether it's the state or the center, all did it at some point. How did they bulk here? How did they, suddenly blink? How did they suddenly, like you said, it's vote bank politics and all that, and the lobby is very strong. But it's against the run of play completely. You've got this
yeah.
whole plan in place, so why would you allow it? How will we not look stupid at the very least? And how will we not have consequences for sure?
There are consequences to this. This is exactly the kind of thing where you're going to be. I mean, like this is a super spreader event. This is a super spreader event, right? I mean, like there's no getting around the fact that you have this many people in such a small amount of place. People coming to one place where they will all come and catch it, or not all of them, but a good chunk of them will come and catch it, and then they'll go back to the various places giving it over there. It's a spreader
Amit, if
event.
all catch it, the world is finished. The world is over because the
Oh,
numbers are staggering.
yeah,
If
they
we
are.
everybody there, then I mean, there's no way we'll be able to. We just
So
won't be able to save the world.
Antariksh
First,
actually sent a really interesting graph, right, which was
Yep.
just showing how the
Ratios. Yeah.
yeah, how basically how COVID has spread in India, right? And it is stark, right? It's like basically we were all so panicked up until now, but what happened in March and April is just like it just completely blows away what's happened in the year before that, right? This last March and April is
yeah.
insane what's going on right now. I mean, just the numbers are that we're seeing, and in that we're
And
seeing this kind of
while these
behavior.
numbers are surging, and it's continuing, it's not like it stopped. The prime minister made
Mhm.
some comments, but it's continuing. It's not stopped at all. There's no real change. Are you showing it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
just showing
putting
how
it
the
Maybe I
together.
can't
graph.
read. Can you explain it for the dumb?
So it's just
Yeah.
like the number of infections as you go up. You're seeing the on the bottom
Uh,
on the left side. You're seeing the number of
yeah,
infections,
And you're seeing the
yeah,
right?
date. So right now
yeah.
it's only reached it's still
Right,
2020. I think it's only reached like
right.
June. April it's going through August. Okay, right now it's going
Yeah,
through
you're in
August.
August last year.
Yeah,
September.
Now September.
and now we start seeing it coming down in September, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So see how far it came back down.
Yeah, that's the time
Oh,
when it was
happy
looking good.
times.
We were all happy. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
happy times.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now
And then
suddenly
just oh
all
god,
on
yeah.
board space shuttle. Oh wow. Ouch. From
And
March itself, actually, not so
yeah,
much before.
just
Oh my God. Oof.
yeah,
It's
we
this
insane.
just keeps
are
going.
we running out of people first or days? That's the question.
So for the folks who are listening only, we'll put this into the notes of it, into the show notes of the thing, so you can take a look at this
Yeah.
graph. But it really just shows, like, we went from a peak of 80,000 infections in like September, October, to a point where we came down all the way down to like less than 20,000, and then we went all the way up in like 2 months over 80 to like close to 150. It's just
So close to
startling.
150 right now as we speak.
I
What
think
is the
so.
figure? Ouch.
Let me
Thank
just
God
check.
Silverie's got a
It
couple of
crossed 2 lakhs.
lighter topics to get into.
It crossed
Yeah.
like two. Yeah,
It
I
crossed 2
did
lakhs
actually.
already. Oof.
Uh,
Ah,
We
Yeah,
had like some crazy 11%
we
increase in
have
like one day on
we
this
have
week,
20.
one day over
Yeah,
weekend.
we have 20 lakh
if only
active.
this was the stock market. Damn.
So
Ah,
we have 2 million, close to 2 million active cases, huh, which are actively which are declared. 20 lakh, 19 lakh 23,000 active cases.
so we'll soon overtake the population of New Zealand in a matter of
So
days
we are
in just
already
cases,
second now. We
as in the
are
full population.
yeah. So we have India overtook Brazil a couple of days ago,
Second to
and
Brazil,
no, we're now only second to
US is
America.
only US is ahead.
And if anybody believes that
Huh.
India is
Okay.
reporting as accurately as the US is, then I can sell a lot of different things to that person. There's no way that there's no way India is reporting as accurately as the US is, right? There was as Sachin was telling us about this the other day, right? There was the person who the World Health person or someone like that who was saying that based on what kind of reporting numbers we have and what kind of serology tests we are saying, that India could be declaring as little as 30x, right? So it could actually be 30 times more than what we're seeing in terms of the number of infections, which is just mind blowing.
Like, for example, in Uttar Pradesh, as we speak, I'm 100% sure that the testing is not happening up to standard at all in terms of the Kumbh Mela. If it was, a lot of people wouldn't have been allowed to enter if they were really being very
Yeah,
stringent. There's no
they were
way.
not. They
So
were not. No,
I'm sure
I
it's
mean,
going to
like,
happen all across the country. That's
yeah,
our wave.
yep.
Uh,
Cool.
should
Should
we take a
Sorry.
we?
break?
Should we take a quick
Yes,
break
we
while
should.
this wind
Yep.
blows away? And
Yes.
when
Yes.
we'll take a quick break and we'll come back after the break where we talk about the royal family again. But this is a better story. That was death.
Yeah.
This is love.
Sure.
So, Silvery, this beautiful story to brighten the day of people listening to the podcast. They don't want to hear more about the COVID that we can't control. So, this is lovely. Tell us
Yeah.
Yeah.
across
All right.
cultures.
So a woman from Punjab. Her name is. I mean, it's given in the news article, so I know I can say her name is Palvinder Kaur. Uh, she has sued Prince Harry. She filed a case against Prince Harry in Chandigarh court, saying he promised to marry me and then he did not marry me. So he's suing Prince Harry for not marrying her. Turns out, obviously, pretty obvious, this woman got catfished by a random dude who was sitting at some cyber cafe in Punjab. Is what they're saying, where the IP address or whatever they whatever were able to narrow it down. This guy was probably sitting in this
Or
cyber cafe somewhere.
Harry is a very popular name in Punjab. It's possible he's also Prince Harry. Both these are popular
Or
names.
the Prince Harry. Yeah,
He
that's
might not
true.
be as
Yeah,
unauthentic as you think.
yeah, could be
हाँ? वो
Harinder or
मेरा नाम
something.
हैरी है भाई.
Yeah.
हाँ? सामने देखा, she was
Very true.
beautiful. Yeah.
So yeah. So like there were a lot
So
of
what you're
problems
saying
with.
is she got played by a guy in a cyber cafe.
Yeah, basically. That's what it sounds like. And then the court had some like interesting insights like as to their ruling, which was that first they were like a little sarcastic. They're saying there is every possibility that so-called Prince Harry may be sitting in a cyber cafe of a village in Punjab looking for greener pastures for himself. So that is like because he's already married to Meghan Markle, so he's not gonna. Then they also said that this
Megan.
court finds no ground to entertain this petition and can only show its sympathy for the petitioner that she believed such a fake conversation to be true. So all these kind of like really like brutal,
Good
like
point for
brutally
a
honest.
court, na, Silvery.
Yep.
If one sexy, there are two things here. One, I get the judgment. It's quite nice actually because
Yeah.
he's feeling sympathy or rather empathy for the lady. If she's got fooled, let's forget basic intelligence and all this nonsense. She's got fooled. She's got fooled. So for her, dhoka has happened, and she's sort of been well betrayed. So in that sense, if he's empathized with that, I think it's the right decision to make because
Yeah.
she's not to blame for getting fooled in a sense because you get fooled. then the perpetrator is the person who fooled her. That's where the buck stops. So I do feel bad. But now, having said that, how many people out there would actually think, remember, the royal family is trying to get married to a
Yeah.
young lady in Sector 13, uh,
Exactly.
who he's never seen, but for some reason is able to identify
Yeah.
on an email
The
millions of miles away.
Justice
Yeah,
Arvind
wow.
Singh, who was involved, Arvind Singh Sangwan, who was involved in the case, he also said that this is nothing but just a daydreamer's fantasy about marrying Prince Harry. So I think that's what it was. It's just like some person thought they were marrying Prince Harry, and it was so easy. Sometimes very easy to convince you because you want to believe it. Like, yeah, of
What if
course
she
the
comes?
prince is in love with me. Of course,
What
I
if she
met this
comes?
prince I've
What
never
if?
met online.
What if she
Yeah.
comes back to court the next week with Prince William now, saying again,
I
the
told you it was
promises
true.
and
Yeah, he is
yeah.
uska nahi to uska bhai ka se. No, William is
And then
correct. I'm sorry.
finally she comes and says that, I married Prince Philip, but he died on me. And, now they won't let me back into the castle.
Sue him.
But it must be fun for the judge in the middle of this pandemic and the ridiculous things that he has to deal with on a daily basis. It's a breath of fresh air. I would think he must have enjoyed it. He'll go home and discuss this with his family. They'll all have a. So you put a lot of happiness across the table, not just in Punjab but everywhere in the world once the story goes out. So thank you, Parminder ji, if that is your name. I think we're all feeling better after
Yeah.
the Kumbh. The Kumbh has been pushed aside, and your love affair with the royal Prince Harry, who by the way is no longer royal, right, Amit? So my daughter tells me he's given up
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, he's
He's just Harry.
He's not doesn't
he's
have title anymore, right?
yeah,
No
he gave it
title.
all up.
No title.
Well, I mean, like, I think
Good.
he would have. He is still the prince, right? I mean, he might not have like a duke or a dukedom or
Huh.
whatever.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
I
You're right.
don't know.
Yeah.
I'll
Honestly,
do
dude,
it.
I don't know.
I'll
I
do.
don't care enough. I don't know enough.
I,
I just.
I'll do an Alibaba Google check right now. Maya, does Prince Harry have a title? No title.
No
No
title.
title.
No
He's
time.
just Harry.
Okay.
Oh, Harinder or Harish or whatever his full name is. That's it. Imagine he's just one of us. Why would you let that go? You had a lifetime of being famous doing nothing, and you let that go. It's like
I
being
don't
a
know.
VJ forever. You don't have to
Yeah.
do anything. Unbelievable. A big mistake. Ah,
I think
they
they
take their
had to
lives
see.
too seriously. The whole idea is they shouldn't, and quietly let. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that in the interview with
Say,
Oprah,
Silvery, say.
they were saying something about racism and all, right? They were worried about the Archie's like color of Archie's the child's skin and all that. So I think that all that and then
Skin and all that.
always
Yeah,
wanting
yeah.
always having to be formal and all the controlling the media and the press and all that is the excuses that Harry and Meghan gave for
Also, don't
leaving.
want to make it a case of sour grapes, and don't ask me how I know all this, but he's like fifth or sixth in line. So his chances of getting the kingship and at
That's
one
true.
point is never going to really happen
He's
because
not
there are a
getting
few
it.
others that. So
I
I
don't.
mean,
I don't think
he's
he
now
ever
not getting it.
expected to
So
get. He never
Yeah.
expected, right? I mean, like it's Charles, and then after Charles, William, then William's kid, then after that, I think
yeah,
then after that
Williams
he
two
comes.
kids.
William's got two kids, so
Yeah,
then he got two kids and then him. So he's got no chance
yeah. So he's fifth or
as
sixth in
such.
line, and then with the age and all, do the math. Very well, no, there's no chance. He could be. He could come to Punjab and be the king of a lady's heart. That we can give him. He can be the king of Parminder's heart. We can figure that out. A nice title, Shahenshah is Jagir ki. Whatever. We'll figure out a nice long line. Yeah. Anyway, nice story. Next one.
The- there's a so there's two stories now about the Ever Given ship which was stuck at the Suez Canal.
Is it
So
ever given
the
or evergreen?
Evergreen is the company's name. Ever Given is the ship's name. The company
Okay.
that
Right,
owns
right.
the
That's
ship
why I
is
keep getting
the is
confused.
the
I keep
yeah
reading both these things and I'm wondering, are they making a print mistake? Good, you clarify that.
yeah
Huge
yeah.
point, huh?
So the Ever Given after being released whatever like unstuck from the Suez Canal is
Yeah.
now has been
Unstuck is the only word we can use.
yeah has been impounded right like very near the canal has been impounded and is not being left till the owners of the ship pay $1 billion in for the chaos they caused. And that yeah, so
Yeah.
the entire crew which had like 25 26 Indian sailors is not being allowed to leave except for two sailors who recently were allowed to leave because of some reason which I forgot what the reason was, but they have been allowed to leave.
Humanitarian basis of some emergency or whatever. But basically, they've been kept back. So it's like no bail for these poor guys. They are stuck
Yeah.
till their management. Well, it's a lot of money. Amit, is it possible? Insurance won't cover it, right? Because there's enough human
$1 billion.
error
I mean, like
involved in it.
I doubt they have that much money, right? I mean, like, what's the value of the ship? Maybe they take over the ship.
Yeah.
Ship's probably worth like 20, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, something like that. But I doubt that they have that
Wow.
kind of cash. Shipping is a low margin, high
God, it's
volume
like
business, no?
Yeah, but what happens to those 26 sailors? They become like SpongeBob SquarePants, spend the rest of their lives under the sea. That's
No,
it.
no, I'm sure. I'm
You
sure
know.
they will get out now eventually. It's basically they'll keep the ship. Well, I mean, like you can't keep the crew forever, no?
Yeah, but because I think Silverie's going to get into the story about sexual metaphors and all.
Yep.
I want to just quickly add that this whole story is, if you've ever seen dogs having sex, they get stuck after the sexual act, and it takes a long time for them to pull off, and it's quite an awkward looking situation. So this is similar to what happened here. Metaphor I thought was warranted, between the ship and the canal.
Really,
To which
really, you thought it was
Silvery has
warranted?
to take this
Yeah.
point forward. Silvery has lots
Yes.
of poets
Yeah.
out there and writers and creative geniuses. See, the world needs inspiration. It can't just be about Kumbh Mela and COVID. We need things. So we
Yeah.
have Prince Harry falling in love with a Punjabi girl and then
Yeah.
reneging on his promise. And now we have this sex between canal and ship, right?
Yeah, correct. So people don't understand the story. People, ever since the ship, the Ever Given ship, got stuck in the Suez Canal, people have been fascinated by it, right? So people have started writing erotic fan fiction about this, about the Suez Canal falling in love with the Ever Given and vice versa. Like these inanimate objects falling in love with each other, and some of it is really funny. Of course, a lot of it is done in like as a joke only, but some of them take it like really seriously. Like even this joke has been taken really seriously. uh, the website is Archive of Our Own. That's like a website where people post a lot of fan fiction, and there's a tag now called the Suez Canal anthropomorphic. That's the tag's name that you can like click on to get to these stories. Okay, so some of these stories, like there's a title of the story. There's one called XX extra wide cargo stuffs major shipping line delivers huge payload. That's the name of the one of the stories. Uh, the one.
You guys want me to explain the references here and how the orgasm is the end part of it and all that?
Yeah,
Or you guys
Sure.
good?
delivers
You
huge
guys good?
payload. We got.
I could take your expert comments, blow by blow, like you do in sport. Take the play, we cut the play into seconds, and we could see where it went from here to there. But yeah, and also the
Yep.
name. I mean, it's a canal, it's a ship. It's already
Yeah.
there for you, for in a
Yeah.
sense,
Correct.
it's
Correct.
all there if your mind wants to go in that direction. And I can tell
That's
from your
true.
half grins that the moment we all thought, why did we think like that? Where
So
did
I
we
mean,
go
like
wrong?
when Antariksh first told me about the story, right? My first thought was this was probably like they were talking about sailor on sailor action, and they were writing stories about that. I had no conception that they were actually talking about the canal and the ship and the evergreen and the ever giving,
Yeah.
and like all of that. I mean, like that's just
So I have a
I
small
kept
I mean, who
going.
wants
excerpt.
to read about human sexual interaction? That's pointless. They've
That's
raised the
true.
bar for us now. Come on.
Yeah.
I think it
Correct.
makes sense at a time like this that somebody's thinking almost in an ethereal way beyond
Yeah.
what is materialistic in our minds and normal. I'm quite blown by this, to use
I
a
have a
sexual
so I have,
phrase.
I have a small excerpt to read. Okay, this is a
Yeah.
conversation like in one of the erotic novels or whatever, or erotic stories. This is a conversation between the Suez Canal and the Ever Given ship. It goes, the Suez Canal going. I'm so glad, the Suez Canal said acidly, that we are doing this live. How convenient that we have a minute by minute GPS updates so the whole world can see how exactly bad your aim is. So this is like him talking dirty to her. She goes, there's no need for personal attacks, the Ever Given said with forced patience. It's like I did this on purpose. It's not like I did this on purpose. So the canal replies, so effing around and drawing a D and balls in the Red Sea. I'm censoring myself. Drawing a D and balls in the Red Sea. That was what top notch professional steering. Like if you remember, like when it had tried to steer away, it had like on GPS they like tracked
Alec. Yeah.
its look
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
the path it took, and it was like loosely in the shape of penis and balls. Uh,
Yeah.
so
But
she
listen.
so,
Yeah. Go on. Go on.
so she replies back, that was foreplay. And hey, this isn't all on me, you know. It takes two to tango. And then she goes, and then the canal goes, it's not my fault your bulbous bow is so effing big. Overcompensating much? What is happening? This is so bizarre. So he goes, and then the canal replies, well, it's not my fault. You're too outdated
End
to
of the
handle
day,
the capacity requirements
the
of modern
male
shipping.
appendage is to blame for everything.
Yeah, exactly. So then
No,
blah
it's
blah
the
blah
male
blah.
appendage.
A
It
few
takes the
more.
blame for everything in the world, whether it's warfare or pandemic. Somehow the other, it's the male organ which has
Yeah,
caused it. I mean, you have to dig deep, of course, as she has done here to prove it. But
yeah.
yeah, so there are two interesting points. One, of course, is the imagery. Secondly, but who thinks of it? I mean, I'm just thinking about what kind of empty lives do we lead that, think, okay, I can find sexual imagery between the canal and the ship, and I can actually have very, very strong graphic sort of metaphors in place for everybody to enjoy. And most of us are grinning and nodding along also, which tells you where we stand.
Which
What a
is, yeah,
sick people.
it's funny, dude. It
Yeah,
is
it
funny.
is. It is. Yeah. I'm just thinking, even a ship can get laid these days. What happens to us?
Yeah, so then I have
Pandemic.
like very small summaries of some of the
Ah,
stories. Okay,
the
some
wife,
summaries of
as
some of the
you.
stories. This is has been posted by a Twitter account called Starship Tomar SS. Okay, so whatever, Tomar SS. Yeah. Uh, so some of these
Ah,
stories are titled like the Ever Giver, then
ah.
Unconventional Waters, Ever Found. So whatever. So one of the Ever Giver cast synopsis is this. It says sometimes you get everything you want, but the world tries to take it away from you. And this is again talking about the love between the Suez Canal and the Ever Given. One more which says this is called Mall Rats, which says she was a ship large and in charge, flashing you a smile before disappearing into the thick sandstorm. Only you were blessed with the chance to get to know her as she slid her bulbous bow into your shoreline. So this is just, a lot of it is very bizarre, but it's very funny to read. So I would recommend people go out
And
and read
borrowing
this.
the same imagery, one writer borrowing the same imagery from the other, maybe also a work of collective work of
Yeah,
sorts between the same
could
group
Yeah,
of people who've
exactly. Yeah,
had this discussion. Yeah,
yeah.
cool. Shall we go to
So we can
MES?
anyway,
let's go to the
let's,
AMAs.
I think so. Yeah.
All right, AMA time. Let's go. Yeah, there's some very, very good questions here today. We have the first one was Sachin Jangam says, non-COVID talk. Cyrus, please tell us about your new Amazon Prime Video comedy show. LOL,
Oh
LOL, Hase to
God.
Phase. Trailer is coming out today at
Oh
around 11:30 a.m.
yeah, I'm scared to talk about it. It's oh my God, it's so loud. It's amazing. It's a bit like this ship imagery. It's just really big and graphic. It'll hit you. Yeah, we're supposed to sell it, so it's best I don't say anything. That's what I was trying to tell the Amazon guys, but they were like, "No, no, please, we have to sell it. We have to talk about it." So we've got interviews. I just don't know how I'm going to. How much can I, without? I mean, God watches all this. You've got to be honest. You've got to be very careful. Yeah, so yeah, it'll be fun. There are 10 comedians put inside a room, and they have to try and make each other laugh. And then whoever gets who laughs first gets out. Then the next, so it's till one man is left standing. It's a Japanese concept, if I remember correctly, and owned by Amazon, obviously, and it's done in different cultures now here. So yeah, it would have been nice if we didn't have a pandemic in the background because we had to change the dates from March of last year to August, and even then, walk around with people, wearing all these suits and all that, and then taking it off and doing the shoot. And would have been nice to do them more relaxed times, but for now, this is
Would
it.
you have had a
Yeah,
live audience? Would the
so
show have had a live audience if it
it
was,
is there. He's
if not
No, no, no.
non-COVID
They
times?
won't. They control everything. There's only one person who likes to actually do improv style everything without any holes or planning, and that's me. And that's out of sheer laziness. But everybody else, everything is sort of planned. I've learned the hard way that everything is. They've got a beginning, middle, and end like an insect. They've got to have three parts to the body, and they do it that way. I think you have to be really lazy, like I am, to say let's just wing it and see what happens. But sadly, my people are very few. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Next
So, but
one come.
we'll be inundated with this LOL right now because I have to every day do some press things and all of us. So they're going to really push that out. It's going to be second only to Kumbh Mela in terms of comedy, as far as I can tell.
All right. Next one comes from Abhijit. He says, how did Cyrus convince Aisha about washing only one side of the plate while doing the dishes? I tried to do the same with
Aisha,
my GF, and all I got was a look of disgust.
no, I didn't convince her. I lost the argument,
Last
but
year.
I fought like a man. I mean, not like a man, like an insect. I'm more like an insect now. But my logic was we've discussed it. And my logic is not wrong. I only wanted sometimes stupid people and cruel people don't want to listen to logic. My logic was what? Let's look at this phone here. Okay, this is the top of the phone. This is the back of the phone. When you eat food, let's pretend this is a plate. Similar analogy to the ship and canal. So you eat here. You never eat here. This part is never, this just stays on the table. It doesn't get touched by anything. So what is the point of cleaning both sides? I just, when I did the second dish, I was like, 1 minute, I don't have to do 100%. 50% is correct. And that's where the argument started. I am not wrong in my argument, but I got a beating. I got a real horrible beating, and they made me clean more dishes, call the neighbors
No,
down,
but for how long will you not never wash the bottom?
judges, send your dishes, make him do it. uh, Yeah. So I'm sorry
Also,
that the philosophy is right, but we are not.
it's
Yeah.
actually I can see how it can be incorrect also though. You're eating with if you're eating
Why?
with your hands, and if you pick up the plate, then your fingers have touched the bottom.
Why would you pick up the
Yeah.
plate? You pick up
What
the
I
other
mean,
don't you need?
plates. Who
Don't you
picks
need
up
to
the
move the?
plate?
Don't you need to move your plate from your spot
No,
to
I
the?
take the big dish to my plate. I put whatever, let's say curry. I put the curry on the rice here. I don't take my plate to the curry. I make sure I don't touch anything. If I had my way, I'd have my mother feed me, but my wife would just kick me in the face.
no, but then
So,
then but Amit is right. But then to finally take the plate to the washing bay, you'll still have to pick it up, right? So at
no,
that time, you'll
I,
have
I
to get
hold it from
dirty.
I hold it from the tip. I hold it from the tip there with my
Oh,
clean
like,
So
hands.
now
I
now
hold it
you're
from the
making
tip,
it now
obviously.
now
yeah.
now you're really working hard so that you can only clean half of the plate. And I would think that the effort of cleaning the other half of the plate when you're already cleaning half of the plate is
I
less than the
swear.
amount of effort you have to take to
I
be able to
swear
manage
the
it.
underside of the plate was clean as a baby's bottom at the right time. It was completely. It was there was not a drop of water or liquid or chutney or anything like that. It was completely clean. It's really pointless. It's like when we shoot now, and the guy's taking time to iron the shirt. I always say just iron the chest part. You're only seeing this. Why are you ironing the back and the sleeves which are inside the suit? I don't see the point of that. No, pura karne ka. No, pura karne ka. This is what you're seeing. There's no point. But you try and argue. Indians don't like logic. We've had a big problem with that. For mathematical people, logic not a good thing. It's always like no, clean both sides. I mean, one has to be married, so I let her win these battles. So quietly.
Yeah.
What can I do? Yeah,
Okay, people
poor
in the
guy.
comments, please let us know who agrees with Cyrus about this
I
washing
don't
one
think
side of the plate thing.
anybody is going to
I
agree,
don't
so
think
you're
anyone
saying.
is. Yes. But please let us know what you think. It'll be very fun. All right. Next one comes from Rohit Sharma. This is interesting cricket related. He says, which T20 commentary does Cyrus prefer? Normal English, dugout version, or Hindi?
Yeah, I listen to all actually. It depends on my mother's TV. The select thing with the foreign commentators are on. On the outside TV, my son has the normal English commentary with Bogle and gang. And then in my where my dad is with the help, not help, what's the he's minder, the guy who looks after my father. This is in Hindi, so I get to hear all three. So I'm quite abreast with everything. And yeah, the Hindi commentary is quite funny actually. It's the funniest of the three, but it's obviously too loud. So after 20 minutes, you need a break. And I like the foreign ones are better because they're a little more subtle and quiet, and they're really really neutral because mostly Indian players they're talking about, so it's good to get their perspective. But what they do is they all praise the country and the IPL because they know where their bread is buttered, and that's a fact. And that's a little sad.
Of course.
I wish you'd abuse it or insult it once in a while, but no one's going to call a spade, and that's a little. But that's the way it is. It's presented as a thing where everybody's on board and they're all on the same side, and nobody ever criticizes the machinery. Which honestly, that's why podcast comedy would be the best way to do it. Because if you're part of it, you could actually say what you want because there's no lena lena with you and the circus that's going on. But if you're part of it, you can't be objective. You just can't. It's
But,
like
but I
I can't talk about my wife, because I'm married to her. But wait
no,
for the day.
but I think also the fact is that the IPL has opened up a tremendous amount of opportunities for a lot of different people, right? And so, given that, I think
Yeah,
that a lot of people have like genuinely like if it wasn't for the IPL, would all of these foreign cricketers be making the kind of money that they are, or even all these Indian cricketers making the kind of money that they are? Would there
no, no,
be so
no, no.
much
There's
cricket
lots
op?
of positives. No one's saying no. There are lots of positives. No one's saying no. It's a
Oh,
money making machine. From point of commerce, it's fabulous. Everybody, we all make money. We do events on the side, some shows, shoots. Everybody makes money on it. Okay, no problem with that. I'm just saying that you can't actually look at it from a threadbare perspective because everybody has to be. It's a slightly like a mafia organization. You have to all be
it
on the
is.
same page. You can't look at it and criticize this element or that element. The 2.5 minutes strategic timeout. I find that stupid. But they do it because they want ads or for whatever reason. They've got some reason for it. But it's just dumb. It's a fast game. Why kill the pace? Cricket is always a game. It struggles with pace because it's stop start stop start. I would remove that 2.5 minutes, but I dare say anything because I mean, a person from inside will never say anything about it. They'll say, "Wow,
Right.
strategic timeout,"
Yeah.
and all the great things
like
associated with it. Yeah, Silvery?
I never understand why these organizations like the IPL or FIFA are so strict about their names. Like they don't want the word Mumbai Indians to be used in other like
Yeah.
social media or something. Like I don't understand why Rajasthan Royals people can't say
So
Rajasthan Royals, people say Rajasthan instead.
they've created equity for themselves, they presume, and they don't want that equity to be shared or diluted. It stays with them, so they own everything. So the references also are there. So if you're going to take the reference of theirs, it's like if you use Sachin Tendulkar's name in your movie, then you have to pay him. So now if you're using Mumbai Indians name in your movie, you have to pay whoever. It's
But
like that.
isn't it good for them only if I'm talking about Mumbai Indians more? as
So I
Mumbai
think
Indians.
different sports leagues have
If
different
you think you're
priorities
big,
and
if you
different
think you're
ways around this.
bigger than the
Okay.
market, then no.
See, there are different sports leagues have different ways of
No,
approaching this
they
just
are making
generally.
money. The bigger, the high profile ones do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it really does depend on, like, how you look at the rights in these kinds of situations, right? Different leagues have different things that they allow. Like, so for example, FIFA and EPL will not allow highlights just generally. Same with
Yeah.
IPL, right? You cannot do highlights. Basically, if you're a fan, you can't do creations of their highlights. But look at the NBA, and what the NBA does is that if you're a fan YouTube page, if you tie up with the NBA, which costs almost no money, you can start using NBA footage for highlights and stuff like that, right? So there are different ways that different
Oh.
leagues approach this with different thinking, and they all have their logic around it, right? See,
Amit,
nobody is doing this without giving it due thought, but so they all have their logic
let's
around it.
learn. Let's learn from this. No, there's logic and commercial logic, but let's learn from it. Let's keep our name also as a sort of money making, a sort of money making, proposition. So every time my name is used henceforth, even flippantly for whatever reason, I think we should be paid a premium.
Somebody
What do you think,
somebody should
Amit?
pay you. So I think somebody should pay you
On
some
any
money.
broadcasting medium or even in public, if people are crossing the road and say, yeah, someone's crossing the road and says, "Hey, Cyrus," I think that should be like 1,000 rupees
So
with GST attached.
honestly, guys, this is a
Why not? Silvery,
really
any objections?
No, no, agreed. Totally. You should get paid every time someone uses the word Cyrus.
Hmm.
Regardless
No,
whether they're talking about you. Even if Cyrus Sahukar, you should get it.
no,
Of
this is a
course,
really
of
complicated issue,
course.
though. I mean, like the issue itself, when you're talking about rights and stuff like that around this stuff, it's a really, really complex issue with a lot of subtleties to it, right? I mean, like you're allowed to do certain things, you're not allowed to do certain things. In what case does certain things constitute fair use? In what case does it not constitute fair
This
use?
is India. We'll figure out all this simply by a metaphor I will give you, where you have to wash your hands and shut shop and make sure on a lockdown. But if you're in the Kumbh Mela, you can eat outside, bathe outside, hold hands outside. So everything is possible in our lovely country. But can we do one last one because I'm being bullied on the table here?
Okay.
Hello, can
Hello?
you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go to the next one.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. One last one quickly, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, sure. This one comes in from VB. He says, Cyrus and company, what are your thoughts on certain celebrities tweeting about not having any fear during this pandemic and almost saying, do not stay caged at home?
You mean someone like Cyrus?
Just someone like Cyrus.
Yeah.
Cyrus
Other
is
than me, who says that?
exactly.
Oh,
So
one second.
you're for
One
that, I
second.
guess.
That's $2,000. Silvery, $2,000. Amit, $1,000. And the gentleman who obviously insinuated it was me, $500. That's a no, 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 that's
Okay.
great. Lost to company. Lovely.
Tarun had an
But
interesting
is
comment.
there a famous celebrity?
Okay, I don't know actually if there's any famous celebrities, but
Has
it
anyone been
must be if
outspoken like
you
that?
can.
I can't remember off the cuff. Yeah.
It's there's a lot of business people who are saying stuff like this, but I don't think that entertainment celebrities are generally keeping their mouth shut about this because well, most people want them.
Surprisingly, Rakhi Sawant has not spoken up.
Maybe she has, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know. No, but I think that people in entertainment are staying away from it because it's a complex issue, right? And basically, if you start talking too much about this, people have been taken down over this
Grain.
stuff, right? You remember that Imagine song, which all the Gail Gadot and all of those
Yes,
Yeah.
of
people had
course.
done,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I mean, like people have been kind of like, "Do
Yeah.
shut the fuck up and stay in your lane" about this stuff generally. So I think there might be
Hmm?
not that many entertainment celebrities talking
Shut
about
up
that,
and
but I,
dribble. Is it a
but
shut up and dribble moment?
it's just a shut up and dribble moment. No, but I mean, like you're seeing it on the business side, right? Like, so I mean, like we know that Anil Ambani's son has been very vocal about
Yes.
this
I'm a
stuff.
fan. I'm a fan.
Uh, Gautam Singhania has spoken about this stuff quite often. If I'm not mistaken, there have been a few people on the business side who have spoken about this, right? I mean, like, but Rahul Bajaj has spoken about this quite a few times, but not so many on the
Yeah.
entertainment side.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll pick this up the next time. I
Uh, uh,
want to discuss this a little more. The road less
Okay.
travel, the ulterior, the optional thought process, the philosophy that goes against the grain. I think we need to explore it a little bit before we say no. I mean, that's what this show's all about, right? It's a very open
Of
platform.
course.
We're not fascists here. We just tell you one thing and one thing alone. Okay, guys, I have to get back to a second part of breakfast with the family. Wait. Let me say bye, Maya. I'm under a lot of pressure here. I have no standing.
Okay, I guess
Okay,
that's
wow,
the
that
end of
was
it.
very. I don't know whether that was planned or not. I can't. I
I think
couldn't tell.
I think Cyrus did not realize that if he touches his screen, that he's going to shut
Oh,
off
it'll
his
go.
computer. So
All
thank
right.
you, everybody. I think
Yeah.
we're good. Yep.